In the vast, uncharted reaches of the galaxy, where stars whispered secrets to those daring enough to listen, a lone human named Alex found himself drifting through the cosmos. His ship, a battered relic from Earth's distant colonies, had sputtered to a halt near a shimmering planet called Zerathia. It wasn't on any standard maps, hidden away like a forgotten jewel in the velvet expanse of space. Alex, with his rugged charm and a jawline sharpened by years of survival on the fringes, had always been the type to chase opportunity wherever it beckoned. Back home, he'd been a mechanic, fixing rigs on asteroid mines, but the allure of the unknown had pulled him deeper into the stars. Little did he know, this world would change everything. The distress signal had come faint but insistent, broadcasting from a remote village nestled in Zerathia's emerald valleys. Help wanted, it said in broken universal tongue. Simple labor, good pay, no questions. Alex, low on fuel and even lower on credits, figured it was a farming gig, maybe tending to exotic crops or repairing irrigation systems. He landed his ship on a grassy plateau, the air thick with the scent of alien blooms, sweet and intoxicating like honeyed wine. As he stepped out, the sun dipped low, casting a golden hue over the landscape, and that's when he saw them. The villagers emerged from their thatched dwellings, structures woven from iridescent vines that glowed softly in the twilight. They were ethereal beings, tall and graceful, with skin as pale as moonlight and hair cascading like silver waterfalls. Their ears tapered to delicate points, like those of ancient elves from Earth's old myths, and their eyes shimmered with hues of violet and gold. But it was the women who caught his breath, curves accentuated by flowing garments of silk-like fabric, clinging just enough to hint at the mysteries beneath, elegant yet undeniably alluring. One in particular stepped forward, her name Lyra, as she introduced herself with a voice like a gentle melody carried on the wind. "Welcome, traveler from the stars," Lyra said, her lips curving into a smile that sent a warm flutter through Alex's chest. She was the village elder's daughter, or so he gathered. Her attire a blend of regality and sensuality, a low-cut bodice embroidered with glowing threads, skirts that whispered against her lithe legs as she moved. The other women, Zara and Nara among them, hovered nearby, their gazes curious, almost hungry, as if sizing him up for more than just his strength. The men, fewer in number, nodded solemnly, their expressions guarded. Alex shook off the initial daze, chalking it up to the planet's atmosphere playing tricks on his senses. "I'm here for the job," he replied, his voice steady despite the way Lyra's proximity made his pulse quicken. "Farming, right? I can handle that." Lyra's eyes sparkled with something unspoken. "Oh, it's vital work. Our village, Elandor, has suffered losses. We need fresh blood to thrive." Her words hung in the air, laced with a double meaning that Alex missed in his eagerness. She led him through the village, her hand brushing his arm lightly, sending an electric spark up his spine. The paths were lined with bioluminescent flowers that pulsed like heartbeats, and distant laughter echoed from communal halls where feasts were being prepared. As they walked, Lyra explained the basics. The soil here was fertile but fickle, requiring strong hands to till and plant, but there was an undercurrent in her tone, a hesitation that made Alex wonder. The villagers watched him with a mix of hope and desperation, their whispers following like shadows. That night, as he settled into a cozy hut assigned to him, furnished with soft furs and a bed that seemed far too inviting, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that this was no ordinary job. Lyra visited him under the cover of stars, bringing a tray of exotic fruits and a flask of nectar that warmed his veins like fine whiskey. "You're different from us," she murmured, sitting closer than necessary, her scent enveloping him, a mix of jasmine and stardust. "Stronger, more vital." Her fingers traced the edge of his sleeve, and Alex felt a pull, a magnetic draw that was both thrilling and unnerving. He laughed it off, attributing it to loneliness after months in space, but as she leaned in, her breath warm against his ear, whispering promises of belonging, he sensed the layers peeling back. This village held secrets, and he was about to become entangled in them. The next morning dawned with a crispness that invigorated Alex. He rose early, ready to prove his worth. The fields stretched out like a sea of green, dotted with peculiar crops that hummed with energy. Lyra was there again, guiding him, her laughter light as she showed him how to handle the tools, elongated spades that vibrated with some inner tech. But as the day wore on, he noticed oddities, the women of the village lingering nearby, their conversations hushed, eyes flicking toward him with unspoken intent. Zara, with her playful grin and form-fitting attire that left little to the imagination, offered him water from a crystal vial, her touch lingering on his hand. You're adapting quickly, Zara said, her voice husky, laced with admiration. Most outsiders falter here. Alex wiped sweat from his brow, feeling a surge of pride. Humanity had always been about endurance, pushing through where others crumbled. Yet, beneath the surface, a puzzle was forming. Why were there so few children? Why did the elders convene in secret meetings, casting glances his way? By midday, as they shared a meal under a canopy of glowing leaves, Nara joined them. She was bolder, her white hair tied back to reveal the elegant curve of her neck, her dress shimmering like liquid silver. "Tell us about your world," she urged, her eyes locking onto his. Alex spun tales of Earth's oceans and cities, of human resilience in the face of adversity. The women listened rapt, their cheeks flushing with color, and he felt like a storyteller weaving magic. But Lyra's hand on his knee under the table sent a jolt, innocent, or something more. As the sun climbed higher, the work intensified. Alex dug trenches, planted seeds that pulsed with life, his muscles aching but his spirit unbroken. The villagers marveled at his stamina, whispering about how humans were built differently, tougher, more passionate. Little by little, bonds formed, conversations turning flirtatious, touches growing bolder. That evening, as fireflies danced in the air like living stars, Lyra pulled him aside to a secluded grove. "There's more to this job than farming," she confessed softly, her body pressing close, the heat between them palpable. "Our people, we're fading, we need you, Alex, in ways you can't yet imagine." His heart raced, a mix of confusion and desire swirling within. What did she mean? The night air thickened with tension, her lips inches from his, promising revelations that would shatter his world. But before he could press for answers, a distant horn sounded. Calling the village to assembly, Alex followed, his mind ablaze with questions, unaware that the true nature of his employment was about to unfold in the most shocking way. Days blurred into a rhythm of labor and lingering glances. Alex threw himself into the work, his human ingenuity shining through as he improvised repairs on ancient irrigation machines, blending earth tech from his ship's scraps with Zerathian crystals. The villagers were amazed, their admiration growing into something deeper. Lyra, Zara, and Nara became constants in his days, their presence a blend of companionship and subtle seduction. Meals turned into intimate gatherings, where stories flowed like wine, and accidental brushes evolved into deliberate caresses. One afternoon, amidst the fields, Zara cornered him behind a cluster of towering ferns. "You've brought life back to this place," she said, her voice low, eyes gleaming. Her hand trailed down his arm, fingers intertwining with his. Alex felt the spark ignite, a forbidden thrill in this alien paradise. He pulled her closer, their lips meeting in a kiss that tasted of adventure and mystery, soft at first, then deepening with the passion only humans could unleash. But as they parted, breathless, a shadow fell over them, an elder watching from afar, his expression unreadable. That night, the revelations began to trickle. In the communal hall, lit by floating orbs, the elders gathered the village. Alex sat among them, Lyra by his side, her thigh pressing against his in silent reassurance. The head elder, a wizened figure named Kale, spoke gravely. "Our race teeters on the brink. Infertility plagues us, a curse from ancient wars. We sought a solution among the stars, and found it in you, human." Alex's blood ran cold as the pieces clicked. The farming was a metaphor, the job, to interbreed, to infuse their bloodline with human vitality. Shock rippled through him, but as Lyra's hand squeezed his, a fire kindled. He wasn't just a tool, he could be their savior. Using his knowledge, he proposed ideas, genetic tweaks from Earth biology, nutritional boosts to enhance fertility. The village erupted in hope, but the oppressive elders resisted. Clinging to old ways, whispers of revolution stirred. Alex, with his resilience, became the catalyst. Nights turned electric as bonds deepened, stolen moments with Lyra under the stars, her body yielding to his touch, a dance of discovery that blended worlds. Zara and Nara joined in the conspiracy, their affections weaving a web of loyalty. Yet danger loomed, the elders plotted to control him, forcing the issue. In the heart of the village, Alex rallied the younger generation. "Humans don't just survive," he declared, his voice echoing. "We thrive, we innovate." With makeshift tools, he built a device to amplify fertility signals, drawing on solar energy and biofeedback. Tests began in secret, and results astonished. Conceptions sparked where none had before, but the turning point came during a storm. Lightning cracked the sky as elders confronted him in his hut. "You will fulfill your duty," they demanded, surrounding him with guards. Lyra burst in, her eyes fierce. "No, he's more than that." A fight ensued, Alex's human strength overpowering the frail aliens, fists flying in a blur of motion. He disarmed one guard with a swift kick, dodged another's energy staff, and tackled the elder to the ground. The village awoke to the chaos, siding with their newfound hero. As the storm raged, Alex stood tall, rain slicking his skin, Lyra in his arms. The revolution had begun, humanity's light piercing the darkness, but deeper secrets awaited, ones that would test their budding love and reshape Zerathia forever. The storm's fury seemed to mirror the turmoil in Alex's soul as he held Lyra close, her body trembling against his in the downpour. Rain cascaded over them like a veil, soaking through their clothes until fabric clung like a second skin, revealing the curves and contours that had haunted his thoughts since his arrival. Her white hair plastered to her pale shoulders, and her violet eyes locked onto his with a desperation that ignited something primal within him. The elders had fled into the shadows, their guards scattered and subdued, but the air hummed with unfinished business, the kind that promised more than just victory or defeat. It whispered of desires long suppressed, of a connection that could either save this world or shatter it. Alex's hands, callous from days in the fields and now bruised from the fight, slid down her back, pulling her nearer. The heat of her skin seeped through the chill, a stark contrast that made his blood run hot. "We can't stop now," he murmured, his voice low and rough, carrying over the thunder. Lyra nodded, her lips parting as if to speak, but instead, she pressed them to his in a kiss born of adrenaline and longing. It was fierce, urgent, her tongue dancing with his in a rhythm that echoed the storm's wild cadence. She tasted of salt and sweetness, the nectar from earlier feasts lingering, and Alex lost himself in it, his fingers tangling in her hair, drawing her impossibly closer. They stumbled back toward his hut, the village paths slick and treacherous underfoot, but neither cared. The bioluminescent flowers along the way flickered erratically, casting ethereal glows on their entwined forms. Zara and Nara had vanished into the night to rally the others, leaving Alex and Lyra alone in this charged moment. Inside the hut, the door barely latched before they were upon each other again. Lyra's hands explored him with a curiosity that bordered on reverence, tracing the lines of his muscles, so different from the slender frames of her kind. "You're like fire," she whispered against his neck, her breath hot and ragged, "burning bright where we've grown cold." Alex lifted her effortlessly, her legs wrapping around his waist as he carried her to the bed of soft furs. The storm outside muffled their gasps, but inside, the tension built like a coiling spring. He peeled away her sodden dress, the fabric yielding with a soft rip, revealing skin that glowed faintly in the dim light, smooth, flawless, with a subtle iridescence that made her seem otherworldly. Her body arched under his touch, responsive in ways that surprised even her, as if his human warmth awakened dormant sensations. He kissed a trail down her collarbone, savoring the way she shivered, her small, pointed ears twitching with each brush of his lips. The air grew thick with their mingled scents, a heady mix of rain, earth, and desire that clouded his mind. But even in this haze of passion, suspense lingered like a shadow at the edge of their intimacy. Whispers from the village filtered through the walls, voices debating, some in fear, others in excitement. The elders wouldn't surrender power easily. Alex knew that much from the fire in their eyes during the confrontation. As Lyra's fingers fumbled with his shirt, pulling it over his head to expose the scars from old space skirmishes, he paused, his gaze meeting hers. "What if they come back?" he asked, his voice husky, laced with concern that only heightened the thrill. "Let them," she replied, her eyes darkening with defiance. She pulled him down onto the furs, her body molding to his in a perfect fit that defied their differences. Her hands roamed lower, exploring with a boldness that sent sparks through him, each touch building a suspenseful anticipation. Would this moment be interrupted? Could he trust the villagers' loyalty? The questions swirled, but Lyra's soft moans pulled him back, her legs entwining with his as they moved together in a slow, deliberate dance. It was erotic in its intensity, every caress deliberate, every sigh a promise of more. Her skin flushed under his palms, responding to his human vigor in ways her people had forgotten, passionate, unrelenting. As they deepened their connection, Alex's mind raced with flashes of the bigger picture. The fertility device he'd built hummed faintly in the corner of the hut, its crystals pulsing like a heartbeat, a reminder of why he was here. But now, it felt personal. Lyra's whispers turned to please, her body arching in ways that made him feel like a god among mortals. "Show me what humans do," she breathed, her voice a sultry challenge that stoked the fire within. He obliged, his movements guided by instinct and tenderness, drawing out the suspense with teasing pauses that left her gasping. The storm outside raged on, lightning illuminating their forms in brief, electric bursts, heightening the erotic tension until it was almost unbearable. Yet, beneath the passion, a thread of mystery wove through. Lyra's eyes held secrets, glimpses of pain from her people's decline, and a hunger not just for him, but for the change he represented. As their bodies intertwined, sweat-slicked and fervent, Alex felt the weight of it all. This wasn't mere attraction, it was a bridge between worlds, fraught with risks. A sudden knock at the door jolted them, but it was only Zara, her voice urgent through the wood. "The elders are gathering allies from the outer clans. We need you both now." Lyra froze, her chest heaving, but Alex didn't pull away immediately. Instead, he kissed her deeply once more, a promise suspended in time. "This isn't over," he said, his words laced with erotic intent, eyes burning into hers. They dressed hurriedly, the air still charged with unfinished desire, every brush of fabric a reminder of what had transpired. Stepping out into the rain-swept night, hand in hand, Alex felt the suspense build anew. The village square loomed ahead, torches flickering defiantly against the wind, where Nara waited with a group of young villagers, their faces set in determination. The confrontation had evolved. Whispers of the elders' hidden agendas surfaced, rumors of a pact with off-world traders who profited from Zerathia's weakness. Alex's human resilience shone as he addressed the crowd, his voice cutting through the storm like a beacon. "We've started something here," he declared, Lyra by his side, her touch on his arm a subtle anchor. But as he spoke, his mind drifted back to the hut, to the erotic promise lingering between them, fueling his resolve. The night stretched on, plans hatching in hushed tones, alliances forming under the cover of darkness. As the group dispersed to prepare, Lyra pulled him into a shadowed alcove, her body pressing against his once more. "You make me feel alive," she confessed, her lips grazing his ear, sending shivers down his spine. Their kiss was brief but intense, a stolen moment amid the brewing chaos, erotic in its urgency. Alex's hands cupped her face, thumbs tracing her delicate ears, drawing a soft gasp from her. The suspense of what lay ahead, battle, betrayal, or triumph, only amplified the heat between them. Dawn crept in slowly, the storm ebbing to a drizzle, but the tension remained. Alex worked alongside the women, fortifying the village with barriers improvised from his ship's parts and local vines. Zara's flirtations added a layer of playful eroticism, her winks and lingering touches keeping the mood light yet charged. "You're our spark," she teased, her hand brushing his as they tied knots, her body close enough to feel the warmth radiating from her. Nara, more reserved but no less alluring, shared glances that spoke volumes, her white hair catching the first rays of sun like a halo. In quiet moments, Lyra and Alex stole away to the grove where it all began. There, under the dripping leaves, their conversations turned intimate, bodies entwining in ways that blurred the line between strategy and surrender. "Our people have rituals," she explained, her fingers mapping the contours of his chest, "but nothing like this." The erotic exploration built suspense, each revelation about her culture drawing them closer, while the threat of the elders' return loomed like a dark cloud. As evening fell again, scouts returned with news. The elders had summoned reinforcements, alien warriors from neighboring clans, armed with energy lances that could level the village. The air thickened with anticipation, but Alex's ingenuity kicked in. He modified the fertility device into a makeshift shield generator, its hum now a protective barrier. Lyra watched him work, her admiration turning to desire, and in a moment of vulnerability, she pulled him into an embrace that reignited the flame. Their connection deepened that night, bodies moving in harmony, erotic whispers mingling with plans for defense. Every touch was suspenseful, wondering if this would be their last, yet it fueled their determination. As they lay entwined, hearts pounding in unison, Alex realized this was more than survival, it was evolution, humanity's gift to the stars. But the dawn brought shadows moving on the horizon, the elders' forces approaching. Lyra's hand in his, they stepped out to face it, the erotic bond between them a secret weapon, unbreakable and fierce. The shadows on the horizon coalesced into a formidable line of figures, their silhouettes stark against the rising sun, energy lances glinting like venomous fangs ready to strike. Alex tightened his grip on Lyra's hand, feeling the subtle tremor in her fingers that mirrored the pounding of his own heart. The erotic haze of the night before lingered in his veins, a fierce undercurrent that sharpened his senses rather than dulled them. turning every breath into a reminder of what he fought for, not just survival, but the intoxicating promise of a future woven from two worlds. The village stirred around them, a hive of hurried activity, Zara directing villagers to barricades, her white hair whipping in the wind like a banner of defiance, while Nara calibrated the improvised shield generator with steady hands, her gauzy dress fluttering to reveal glimpses of her lithe, alluring form. No one spoke of retreat. The air crackled with a dramatic tension, as if the very planet held its breath, waiting for the clash that would redefine its fate. As the elders' forces drew nearer, Alex could make out their ranks, dozens of warriors from the outer clans, their pale skins adorned with ritual scars, eyes glowing with fanatic zeal. At their forefront strode Kale, the head elder, his once stooped frame now rigid with authority, flanked by guards whose weapons hummed with lethal charge. But something curious nagged at Alex's mind. Why hadn't they attacked at night, under cover of storm? It felt too deliberate, too staged, like a predator toying with prey. He glanced at Lyra, her violet eyes wide with a mix of fear and resolve, her body pressed close to his for warmth in the cool dawn air. "They're not just here to reclaim power," she whispered, her voice laced with urgency. "There's something else, something they've hidden from us all." The words sent a thrill through him, a surge of adrenaline that blended curiosity with the raw edge of danger. Alex activated the shield generator with a flick of his wrist, its low hum escalating to a protective dome that shimmered over the village like a soap bubble laced with lightning. The device, born from his human scraps and Zerathian crystals, pulsed with an energy that made the ground vibrate faintly, a testament to humanity's knack for turning the impossible into armor. Villagers gasped in awe, their faces illuminated by the glow, but Alex's focus sharpened on the approaching horde. "Stay close," he murmured to Lyra, his free hand reaching for a makeshift staff he'd fashioned from a fallen branch and wired circuits, a crude but effective stun weapon. The first volley came without warning, energy bolts arcing through the air like comets, slamming into the shield with explosive force. Sparks rained down, the barrier holding but wavering under the assault, each impact sending shockwaves that rattled teeth and bones. Dramatic cries echoed from both sides, warriors shouting ancient battle hymns, villagers rallying with chants of newfound rebellion. Alex pulled Lyra behind a reinforced barricade, his body shielding hers instinctively, the thrill of the moment igniting a protective fire within. Zara leaped into action nearby, her gamine figure darting with surprising agility, firing back with a borrowed lance that she'd modified under Alex's guidance. "Take that, you relics," she yelled, her shot felling a guard in a burst of light, her laughter wild and exhilarating amid the chaos. But the real climax built as Kale raised his hand, signaling a ceasefire that hung heavy in the air, a suspenseful pause that made hearts stutter. He stepped forward, his voice amplified by some hidden device, booming across the field like thunder from a god. "Human, you meddle in affairs beyond your grasp. Surrender, and we may yet spare your companions." The words dripped with menace, but Alex detected a flicker of desperation in the elder's eyes, a curious crack in the facade. Why negotiate now? Thrilling possibilities raced through his mind. Perhaps the elders feared the shield, or maybe there was a betrayal brewing in their own ranks. Lyra tensed beside him, her breath quickening, her hand slipping to his thigh in a subtle gesture of solidarity that recalled their intimate nights. "Don't trust him," she urged, her voice a husky whisper that sent a shiver down his spine despite the peril. Alex nodded, stepping out from cover, his stance bold and unyielding, the human hero archetype come to life in this alien drama. "What are you hiding, Kale?" he called back, his tone challenging, laced with the curiosity that had drawn him across the stars. The villagers held their breath, the scene teetering on the edge of explosion, in a surprising twist that caught everyone off guard. Kale laughed, a cold, echoing sound that sent chills racing. "Hiding? Oh, we've hidden nothing you weren't meant to find." With a wave, he unveiled a hovering device from behind his robes, a sleek orb that projected a holographic display into the sky. Images flickered to life, ancient Zerathian texts, star maps, and, shockingly, records of off-world dealings. The elders hadn't just been oppressive, they'd struck a pact with ruthless traders from a neighboring system, selling out their own people's fertility secrets in exchange for power-enhancing artifacts. The curse of infertility, not a natural plague, but an engineered toxin deployed by these allies to keep the population dependent, controllable. Gasps rippled through the village, the revelation hitting like a seismic wave. Lyra's eyes widened in horror, her grip on Alex tightening as betrayal's sting pierced deep. "My father," he knew. she breathed, the dramatic weight of family ties fracturing before her. Alex's mind whirled with thrilling implications. This wasn't just a village squabble, it was interstellar conspiracy. But the surprise deepened as one of the elder's guards suddenly turned, his lance swiveling toward Kale. "No more lies," the traitor shouted, firing a stun blast that dropped the elder to his knees. Chaos erupted anew, loyalties fracturing like glass under pressure. The battle reignited with ferocious intensity, warriors clashing in a whirlwind of energy and steel. Alex charged forward, his staff crackling with improvised voltage, dodging bolts that singed the air. He tackled a burly guard, the impact jarring but exhilarating, his human strength overpowering the alien's grace in a grapple that ended with a stunning jolt. Lyra fought beside him, her movements fluid and deadly, her dress tearing at the seams to reveal more of her enticing form, but her focus unbreakable. Zara and Nara joined the fray, a trio of ethereal warriors whose combined allure and ferocity turned the tide, Zara's shots precise, Nara's shields holding firm. In the heart of the melee, Alex faced off against a massive clan leader, a brute with rippling muscles and glowing tattoos. The clash was thrilling, a dance of power, the alien's lance swinging in wide arcs, Alex parrying with his staff, sparks flying like fireworks. Sweat poured down his face, his breaths coming in ragged bursts, but curiosity fueled him. What drove these invaders? A surprising dodge revealed the leader's weakness, a hidden implant pulsing at his neck, likely a control device from the traitors. With a deft strike, Alex shattered it, the brute collapsing in confusion, his eyes clearing as if waking from a dream. "They controlled us," he gasped, the revelation sparking defections across the field. The dramatic peak crested as Kale, recovering from the stun, activated a final desperate measure, a self-destruct sequence on the holographic orb, intending to erase evidence and summon the traitor's fleet. The sky darkened with an ominous hum, portals flickering open above. Lyra screamed a warning, her voice cutting through the din, and Alex leaped toward the elder, tackling him in a bone-crushing embrace. They rolled in the dirt, fists flying, Alex's resilience shining as he pinned Kale down. "End it!" he roared, forcing the elder's hand to the deactivation rune. But in a curious twist, Kale whispered hoarsely, "It's too late. They've come for you, human. Your vitality, it's the key they crave." Surprise exploded as the portals widened, revealing not just ships, but a fleet of sleek vessels descending like predators. The traitors had been watching, waiting for this moment. Thrilling fear gripped the village, but Alex rose, battered yet unbroken, rallying his allies with a defiant shout. "We fight together." Lyra, Zara, and Nara flanked him, their bodies glistening with sweat, eyes fierce with loyalty and unspoken passion. The climax hung in the balance, curiosity about the traitors' true intentions adding a layer of intrigue to the chaos. Blasts rained from the sky, the shield straining under orbital fire, but Alex's ingenuity sparked anew. He overclocked the generator, turning it into a counterweapon that sent feedback pulses skyward, disrupting the ship's systems. One vessel spiraled down in flames, crashing nearby in a spectacular burst. The villagers cheered, the dramatic turnaround thrilling in its improbability. Yet, as debris settled, a surprising figure emerged from the wreckage, a traitor emissary, cloaked and enigmatic, extending a hand in parley. "We underestimated you, human," she said, her voice silky, eyes scanning him with curious hunger. The battle paused, breaths held in suspense, the air thick with the promise of revelations that could upend everything. Lyra's hand found Alex's again, her touch a anchor in the storm, as they faced this new threat, hearts racing toward an unknown horizon. The traitor emissary's words hung in the air like a charged particle, her cloaked figure stepping gracefully from the smoldering wreckage, her own skin a shimmering shade of azure that contrasted sharply with the pale Zerathians. Alex stood frozen for a beat, Lyra's hand still in his, her fingers digging in with a mix of protectiveness and unease that only amplified the drama unfolding before them. The battlefield, littered with deactivated lances and groaning warriors, fell into an uneasy hush, the villagers' weapons lowered but not holstered, eyes darting between their human savior and this new intruder. Zara and Nara flanked them, their postures tense, white hair disheveled from the fight, dresses torn in ways that added an unintended allure to their fierce demeanors, Zara's bodice gaping just enough to reveal a tattoo of swirling stars on her collarbone. Nara's skirt hiked up from dodging blasts, exposing toned legs that gleamed with sweat. The emissary's eyes, a piercing crimson, fixed on Alex with a curiosity that bordered on predatory, her extended hand hovering like an invitation to a dance no one wanted to join. "We come not as conquerors, but as partners," she continued, her voice a silken purr that slithered through the tension, heightening the drama with every syllable. Alex released Lyra's hand slowly, stepping forward, his mind racing through the implications. Partners? After bombarding them from orbit. The awkwardness of the moment settled like an ill-fitting spacesuit. Here he was, a mechanic from Earth's backwaters, negotiating with interstellar schemers while half the village watched, some still catching their breath from the skirmish. He couldn't help but chuckle inwardly at the absurdity. Him, the unwitting stud in an alien breeding program, now playing diplomat. Partners in what? He shot back, his tone laced with skepticism, but a hint of humor crept in as he added, "Because if it's another farming job, I've had my fill of surprises." The emissary's lips twitched in what might have been a smile or a sneer, her cloak parting slightly to reveal a form-fitting suit that hugged her curves with technological precision, embedded lights pulsing like veins. "Your vitality, human, it's legendary across the sectors. We've observed your kind's resilience. Imagine what we could achieve together." The words dripped with implication, and Alex felt a flush creep up his neck, the drama escalating as Lyra stiffened beside him, her violet eyes narrowing in jealousy-tinged fury. Zara let out a snort, breaking the heavy silence with a burst of humor. "Observed? You mean spied on, like some cosmic peeping Tom? Classy." The villagers tittered nervously, the awkward levity diffusing some tension, but not enough to mask the underlying threat, the remaining ships hovering above, their shadows casting long, ominous shapes over a landor. As negotiations teetered on a knife's edge, the emissary introducing herself as Vexa, her name rolling off her tongue like a forbidden secret, gestured to a portable holoprojector she deployed from her wrist. It flickered to life, displaying schematics of genetic matrices, swirling DNA helices that blended human and alien traits in hypnotic patterns. "Your presence here has disrupted our plans," Vexa admitted, her gaze lingering on Alex a beat too long, heightening the awkward intimacy of the moment. Lyra crossed her arms, her body language screaming possession, while Nara whispered to Zara, "She's looking at him like he's the last fruit on the vine." Alex shifted uncomfortably, the drama building as he realized this wasn't just about Zerathia. The traders wanted him as a specimen, a key to unlocking hybrid armies or eternal youth, whatever profited them most. But humor struck again when a malfunctioning drone from the crashed ship buzzed erratically overhead. Its lights flashing in erratic patterns like a drunken firefly, it dive-bombed toward Vexa, who swatted at it with undignified flails, her composed facade cracking as she yelped in surprise. Alex couldn't suppress a grin. "Your tech's got a mind of its own. Huh, reminds me of my old ship, always picking the worst times to act up." The villagers laughed outright this time, the awkward situation turning the fearsome trader into a momentary clown. But Vexa recovered with a glare that promised retribution, her crimson eyes flashing. "Mock if you will, but our offer stands. Join us and your companions will be spared the full might of our fleet." The drama intensified as Kale, still restrained nearby by defected guards, began to babble incoherently, his earlier arrogance shattered. "They promised me power, immortality through your seed, human." The revelation hit like a gut punch. Awkward in its raw exposure, the elders had sold out their own for personal gain, turning the village's crisis into a commodity. Lyra's face paled, her hand flying to her mouth as family betrayals unraveled in public view. "Father, how could you?" She choked out, the emotional weight heightening the scene's intensity. Alex pulled her close, his arm around her waist a steady anchor, but the moment turned awkwardly tender amid the standoff, with Vex's watchful eyes making it feel like they were performing for an audience. Seizing the distraction, Alex whispered a plan to Zara and Nara, who nodded with mischievous glints in their eyes. "Time to improvise," he said, his human flair for chaos kicking in. They activated a secondary function on the shield generator, a sonic disruptor he jury-rigged from Earth audio tech and Zerathian crystals. It emitted a low-frequency hum that escalated into a comical cacophony, like an orchestra of flatulent beasts, causing the traders' comms to glitch and their weapons to vibrate uncontrollably. Vex's fleet above wobbled, pilots cursing over open channels in a babel of alien tongues, adding a layer of humorous absurdity to the escalating drama. "What sorcery is this?" Vexa demanded, her suit's lights flickering erratically, making her look like a malfunctioning holiday decoration. but the humor faded into thrilling peril as one ship broke formation, descending rapidly with weapons charging. Drama peaked when it fired a warning shot that grazed the shield, sending villagers scrambling. Alex dove with Lyra, rolling into a ditch where bioluminescent mud smeared their clothes, turning them into glowing messes. "Romantic, isn't it?" he quipped breathlessly, wiping a streak from her cheek, the awkward proximity in the tight space heightening their chemistry even as danger loomed. She laughed despite herself, a spark of humor in her eyes. "Only you could joke now," Zara yelled from above. "Incoming!" As Nara redirected the sonic wave, causing the attacking ship to veer off course and clip its ally, debris raining down in a spectacular, if chaotic, display. Vexa, regaining composure, advanced with guards in tow, her offer turning to ultimatum. "Surrender the human and we'll withdraw." The villagers formed a protective circle around Alex, their loyalty a dramatic testament to his impact, but awkwardness ensued when a young villager, emboldened by the chaos, blurted out, "He's ours, find your own stud." The crowd erupted in laughter, the crude humor undercutting the tension, but Vexa's face twisted in rage. "You dare mock the collective?" She signaled, and her guards charged, lances blazing. The skirmish reignited with heightened drama, close-quarters combat where elegance met brute force. Alex parried a blow, his staff clashing with a guard's weapon in sparks that lit up Lyra's worried face. Zara flipped over an attacker with acrobatic grace, landing in a pose that accidentally flashed more than intended, drawing a wolf whistle from a villager that turned the moment awkwardly humorous. "Focus," Nara scolded, but even she smirked as she blasted another foe. Alex grappled with a burly traitor, the two tumbling in the mud, grunting like wrestlers in a farce, until he pinned the alien with a knee. "Stay down, buddy, mud baths aren't for everyone." As the fight wore on, a surprising ally emerged, the defected clan leader from earlier, rallying his kin against the traitors. "No more puppets," he bellowed, his dramatic turn shifting the balance, but Vexa slipped through the melee, cornering Alex and Lyra in a grove. "You're coming with me," she hissed, her hand glowing with a neural disruptor. The drama crested as Lyra lunged, tackling Vexa in a catfight of flailing limbs and torn fabrics, the scene awkwardly erotic in its intensity, white hair tangling with azure skin, dresses ripping further. Alex joined, disarming the device with a swift kick, but not before it grazed him, sending a jolt that made his muscles twitch comically, like a marionette on strings. Humor peaked when he flopped awkwardly, muttering, "Not my best move," drawing a giggle from Lyra even as she subdued Vexa. The traitor, bound and glaring, spat threats, but the fleet above hesitated, communications jammed by the ongoing sonic mayhem. Villagers cheered as reinforcements, more defectors, arrived, turning the tide definitively. Yet, in the aftermath, awkward questions loomed: what to do with captives, how to heal the village's wounds. Alex helped Lyra up, their mud-caked bodies pressing close, the drama of survival blending with intimate relief. "We make quite the team," he said with a wink, lightening the mood. As the sun climbed higher, plans formed amid the wreckage, interrogating Vexa for more secrets, fortifying against potential reprisals. But a humorous twist came when the sonic device malfunctioned again, blasting a tune from Alex's Old Earth playlist, an upbeat folk song about lost love. Villagers paused, then swayed awkwardly, turning the battlefield into an impromptu dance floor. Lyra pulled Alex into it, their laughter echoing, the awkward joy a balm for the drama endured. Yet, beneath the levity, tension simmered, Vexa's whispers of greater threats hinted at shadows beyond Zerathia. Alex felt the weight, but with Lyra's head on his shoulder, Zara and Nara joining the dance with playful twirls, he embraced the chaos. Humanity's gift wasn't just strength, it was finding humor in the storm, turning awkwardness into unbreakable bonds. As the impromptu dance wound down under the warming sun, the villagers dispersing with weary smiles and claps on backs, Alex found himself lingering in the grove with Lyra, Zara, and Nara. The music from the malfunctioning device had faded to a soft, rhythmic hum, echoing the pulse of their shared victory, but the simmering tension from Vexa's cryptic warnings clung to the air like mist after a rain. Lyra's head remained nestled on his shoulder, her white hair tickling his neck, while Zara and Nara hovered close, their playful twirls evolving into gentle sways that brushed against him in ways that stirred memories of stolen moments. The chaos of battle had forged unbreakable bonds. Yes, but now, in this quiet aftermath, those bonds yearned to deepen, to explore the intimacy that had been teasing at the edges of their interactions since his arrival. Alex felt the weight of greater threats looming, but humanity's spirit urged him to seize the joy in the present, to turn vulnerability into connection. Lyra lifted her head, her violet eyes meeting his with a softness that belied the fire within. "We should celebrate properly," she murmured, her voice a gentle invitation, her hand sliding down his arm to intertwine fingers. Zara nodded, her grin mischievous yet tender, her body leaning in so her curves pressed lightly against his side. "After all that, we deserve it." Nara, ever the quiet one, simply took his other hand, her touch warm and reassuring, her pointed ears flushing a faint pink. The grove, with its bioluminescent leaves rustling softly overhead, felt like a sanctuary, a place where the stars' judgments couldn't reach. Alex's heart quickened, the pull between them undeniable, a blend of affection and desire that had built through fights and flirtations. They moved as one toward a secluded pavilion at the grove's heart, a structure woven from glowing vines and cushioned with plush furs, hidden from prying eyes. The air grew warmer here, scented with the sweet nectar of blooming flowers that seemed to respond to their presence, petals unfurling like welcoming arms. As they entered, the door of woven branches sealed behind them with a soft click, enclosing them in a world of their own. Alex's breath caught at the sight, the women shedding their battle-torn dresses with graceful ease, the fabric pooling at their feet to reveal smooth, pale skin that glowed faintly in the dim light. Their forms were elegant and inviting, curves accentuated by the subtle play of shadows, small pointed ears adding an exotic charm that made his pulse race. He followed suit, removing his mud-streaked shirt and pants, the act feeling natural, vulnerable, yet empowering in this shared space. Lyra stepped forward first, her hands tracing the contours of his chest, fingers light as feathers yet igniting sparks wherever they touched. "You've given us so much," she whispered, her body pressing close, the warmth of her skin against his sending waves of sensation through him. Alex pulled her nearer, their lips meeting in a kiss that started slow, exploratory, building to a deeper connection that spoke of gratitude and longing. Zara joined from behind, her arms wrapping around them both, her laughter soft as she nuzzled his neck. "Let us show you our appreciation," she said, her touch playful yet intimate, guiding his hands to explore the softness of her hips. Nara, watching with a shy smile, soon entwined herself in the embrace, her presence adding a layer of tenderness that balanced the growing intensity. The furs beneath them welcomed their descent, a soft bed that cradled their bodies as they intertwined. Alex marveled at the differences, their skin cooler than his, yet warming under his touch, their responses eager and synchronized in ways that felt almost telepathic. He focused on each in turn, his hands and lips mapping paths of affection, Lyra's back arching as he kissed along her collarbone, Zara's gasps turning to contented sighs as he held her close, Nara's eyes fluttering shut in bliss as their bodies moved in harmony. The experience was a dance of give and take, emotions swirling with physical sensations, waves of pleasure building like a crescendo, each moment heightening the bond between them. Whispers filled the air, words of endearment and encouragement, blending with soft sounds that echoed their unity. Time seemed to stretch, the outside world fading as they lost themselves in the rhythm. Alex's human stamina shone through, allowing him to respond to their needs with patience and passion, introducing gentle variations that elicited surprised delights. "This is new," Zara breathed at one point, her voice laced with wonder, her body trembling in response to a tender caress. Lyra smiled against his shoulder, her fingers tangling in his hair. "Humans bring such fire." Nara, nestled beside them, added her own soft affirmations, her touch a steady anchor that grounded the escalating intimacy. The connection deepened, bodies aligning in ways that felt instinctive, each peak of sensation drawing them closer, forging a tapestry of trust and desire. In quiet interludes, they shared breaths and glances, the drama of the day transforming into something profoundly personal. Alex felt a surge of protectiveness, his arms encircling them all, the weight of their heads on his chest a comforting reminder of what he'd fought for. Yet, even here, hints of the larger threats intruded subtly, a distant hum from the shield generator, a fleeting worry in Lyra's eyes, but they pushed it aside, focusing on the now. The experience evolved, exploring boundaries with mutual consent, each woman guiding and being guided, the air thick with the scent of their shared essence. As the intensity waned into a gentle afterglow, they lay entwined, skin flushed and hearts synchronized. Zara traced lazy patterns on his arm, her humor returning in a soft chuckle. "If this is what revolution feels like, sign me up for more." Nara nodded, her head on his thigh, while Lyra kissed his forehead, her voice a whisper of promise. "You've awakened us, Alex, in every way." He held them close, the unbreakable bonds now sealed in intimacy, a foundation for whatever shadows lay ahead. But as the sun dipped lower, casting golden rays through the vines, a subtle shift occurred, the pavilion's crystals beginning to pulse with an unfamiliar rhythm, as if responding to an external call. Alex sat up slowly, the women stirring with him, their expressions turning from contentment to curiosity. The greater threats Vexa had hinted at were stirring, but for now, in this haven, they drew strength from their union, ready to face what came next together. The pavilion's seclusion allowed them to linger a while longer, bodies still intertwined in comfortable repose. Alex's mind wandered to how this connection could fuel their resistance, human adaptability paired with Zerathian grace creating something unstoppable. Lyra's hand rested on his chest, feeling the steady beat of his heart, a rhythm that seemed to sync with the planet's own pulse. "We should prepare," she said eventually, though her tone held reluctance, her body shifting closer one last time. Zara stretched languidly, her form a vision of relaxed allure, while Nara rose first, gathering their clothes with a gentle efficiency. Dressing was a slow affair, punctuated by lingering touches and soft kisses that prolonged the intimacy. Alex helped Lyra with her dress, his fingers brushing her skin in ways that elicited shivers, a reminder of the passion they'd shared. "This changes everything," he murmured, pulling her into one final embrace. She nodded, her eyes shining. For the better, outside, the village awaited, but the energy between them hummed like a live wire, infusing their steps with renewed purpose. As they emerged, the sun setting in a blaze of colors, villagers glanced their way with knowing smiles, the air buzzing with unspoken approval. Zara linked arms with Alex, her hip bumping his playfully. "Ready for round 2 with the traders, I mean?" Her wink lightened the mood, but the underlying seriousness remained. Nara scanned the horizon, her posture alert. "The fleet's signals are weakening, but we can't let our guard down." Alex nodded, drawing them all close in a group huddle that felt like an extension of their private moments. The intimacy had not only strengthened their personal ties, but also their resolve as a unit. Whispers of strategy mingled with affectionate glances, planning defenses while stealing caresses. The night approached, stars twinkling like witnesses to their evolution, and in the communal hall, they gathered with the others, sharing a meal laced with the afterglow of their connection. Conversations flowed, ideas for countering the trader's influence sparking like embers. Alex proposed enhancing the fertility device further, integrating it with defensive tech, his mind sharp from the clarity intimacy had brought. Lyra sat beside him, her thigh pressed to his under the table, a subtle reminder. Zara and Nara contributed, their inputs bold and innovative, the group's dynamic elevated by the trust forged in vulnerability. As the evening deepened, they retired to Alex's hut, the 4 of them collapsing onto the furs in a pile of limbs and laughter. The intimacy resumed in softer forms, cuddles, and quiet talks, bodies nestling together for comfort rather than urgency. Alex marveled at the ease of it, how their differences melted away in these moments, creating a harmony that felt destined. Sleep came eventually, dreams woven with visions of unity and triumph, but dawn would bring new challenges. For now, wrapped in their warmth, Alex felt invincible, the bonds of affection a shield against the cosmos' uncertainties. As dawn's first light filtered through the hut's woven walls, painting soft patterns on the furs where Alex lay entangled with Lyra, Zara, and Nara, a sense of peace settled over him like a warm blanket. Their breaths rose and fell in gentle unison, bodies still closed from the night's tender closeness, a quiet testament to the harmony they'd built amid the turmoil. Alex stirred slightly, his arm draped over Lyra's waist, feeling the subtle rise of her chest against his side, while Zara's leg hooked over his and Nara's head rested on his shoulder. The dreams of unity had lingered in his mind, vivid images of a thriving Zerathia where human ingenuity blended seamlessly with alien grace. But as he opened his eyes fully, a faint, unfamiliar vibration hummed through the air, not from the shield generator outside, but from something closer, more personal. He dismissed it at first as the aftereffects of battle and intimacy, shifting to pull the women nearer, savoring the moment before the day's demands intruded. The village outside began to awaken, distant voices calling greetings, the clatter of tools as repairs commenced on damaged structures. Alex smiled to himself, thinking how far they'd come from his arrival as a stranger to this unbreakable circle of trust. Lyra murmured in her sleep, her pointed ears twitching faintly, and he brushed a kiss against her forehead, the gesture stirring her awake, Her violet eyes fluttered open, meeting his with a warmth that made his heart skip. "Morning already?" she whispered, her hand trailing lazily across his chest, igniting a spark that reminded him of their shared passions. Zara yawned dramatically, stretching like a contented cat, her white hair tousled in a way that added to her playful allure. "Feels like we just closed our eyes. Ready for more adventures, hero?" Nara, ever the serene one, sat up slowly, her dress from the night before slipping off one shoulder, revealing the smooth curve of her skin as she smiled shyly. "Should check on the captives. Vex's bound to have more to say." Reluctantly, they rose, dressing with the ease of companions who had shed all barriers. Alex helped Zara fasten her bodice, his fingers lingering just long enough to draw a teasing laugh from her. "Careful, or we'll never leave this hut." The banter lightened the air, but as they stepped outside into the crisp morning, the vibration returned, stronger this time, emanating from the pocket of his discarded pants. Frowning, Alex retrieved a small, forgotten device, his old communicator from the ship, a relic he'd thought dead after the crash landing. It buzzed insistently now, its screen flickering to life with an encrypted signal he'd never seen before. "What the?" he muttered, the women gathering around him, their expressions shifting from curiosity to concern. The signal decoded itself in a burst of static, projecting a holographic message that hovered in the air like a ghost from his past. A familiar face appeared, Captain Ray's, his old mentor from the Earth colonies, looking haggard but determined. "Alex, if you're receiving this, it means you've triggered the contingency protocol. Listen carefully, Zerathia isn't what it seems. The village, the elders, the traders, it's all a setup. You're not there by accident." The words hit like a cold wave, freezing Alex in place as Lyra's hand tightened on his arm. Zara and Nara exchanged puzzled glances, their bodies instinctively closing ranks around him. The hologram continued, Ray's voice dropping to an urgent whisper. "We sent you there, Alex. Undercover, the fertility crisis. It's engineered by a rogue faction of human explorers who discovered Zerathia decades ago. They interbred secretly, creating hybrids to exploit the planet's resources, crystals that power faster-than-light drives. But it backfired. The hybrids started rebelling. You're one of them, son. Half human, half Zerathian. Your crash was staged to insert you as the catalyst for change." The revelation crashed over Alex like a tidal force, his world tilting on its axis. He staggered back, the communicator slipping from his numb fingers as memories flooded in, fragments he'd always dismissed as dreams. A childhood on a colony ship, unexplained strength, an affinity for alien tech that no pure human should have. His ears, human-rounded, but now he recalled the subtle surgeries to hide the points. Lyra gasped, her eyes widening in shock. "Alex, is this true?" But before he could respond, the twist deepened, Ray's hologram flickered with interference. "The traders aren't aliens, they're human agents covering their tracks. Vexa, she's your sister, Alex. Sent to retrieve you before you uncover too much. The elders knew, they used you to spark the revolution. But now the real threat is inbound, a full invasion fleet to wipe the slate clean. You have to." The message cut off abruptly, jammed by an external force, leaving the group in stunned silence. Alex's mind reeled, the powerful twist unraveling everything he'd believed. He wasn't the outsider hero, he was part of the fabric, a hybrid planted like a seed in his own origin story. Zara touched his face gently, her voice trembling. "Hybrid? But that means you're like us." Nara nodded, her hand on his back, but Lyra pulled away slightly, confusion etching her features. "Why didn't you know? And Vexa, your sister?" The drama of betrayal and identity swirled, heightening the intimacy they'd shared into something profound yet fragile. Alex shook his head, piecing it together, the unexplained pull toward Zerathia, his effortless adaptation. The way the women's affections felt so right, like coming home. But the surprise wasn't done. A low rumble echoed from the horizon, the sky darkening as cloaked ships pierced the atmosphere, not the trader's fleet, but something sleeker, bearing Earth insignias twisted with Zerathian motifs. Vex's voice boomed from a village speaker she'd apparently hacked during her captivity. "Brother, time to come home, or watch it all burn." The villagers panicked, rushing to defenses, but Alex stood rooted, the twist forcing him to confront his dual heritage. Lyra stepped back to him, her resolve hardening. "Hybrid or not, you're ours, we'll fight this together." Zara and Nara echoed her, their bodies pressing close in solidarity, but the air thickened with uncertainty. Could he trust his own memories, or were they implants too? Seizing the moment, Alex rallied, his voice steady despite the inner storm. "If I'm part of both worlds, then I can bridge them or break them." They hurried to the communal hall, where Vexa awaited, unbound now by turncoat guards who'd switched sides again in the confusion. Her azure skin, he realized with a jolt, was a disguise. Peeling back a layer revealed human features beneath, her eyes mirroring his own. "Alex," she said softly, the familial resemblance striking like lightning. "Dad sent me to protect you. The faction wants Zerathia's crystals to dominate the galaxy, but we're the resistance, hybrids fighting back." The layers peeled further. Reyes wasn't his mentor but his father. The rogue faction a cover for a deeper conspiracy where humans had colonized Zerathia covertly. Breeding programs masking resource extraction. The powerful twist spun deeper as scans from Alex's communicator revealed the truth in his blood, Zerathian markers explaining his resilience, his ingenuity a blend of worlds. Lyra, Zara, and Nara watched in awe, their affections unchanged, if anything deepened by the revelation. "You're the key," Vexa explained, urgency in her tone. "Your DNA stabilizes the hybrids, prevents the degradation that's causing the infertility. But the invasion fleet aims to harvest it forcibly." Drama escalated as alarms blared, ships landing, troops deploying with advanced gear that blended human rifles with energy lances. Alex led the charge. His hybrid nature, awakening latent abilities, enhanced senses picking up enemy movements. A telepathic link with the women that coordinated their defenses seamlessly. Lyra fought beside him, her touches now charged with new meaning. "We chose you before we knew," she said amid the fray, dodging a blast. Zara quipped, "Hybrid hotness bonus," lightening the surprise's weight, while Nara's quiet strength grounded him. The battle raged. Villagers and defectors clashing with invaders in a whirlwind of laser fire and hand-to-hand combat. In a thrilling standoff, Alex confronted the fleet's commander, a stern human admiral who claimed to be an uncle, revealing the family dynasty behind the exploitation. "Join us, nephew, rule the stars." But Alex refused, the twist culminating in his activation of a planetary defense grid hidden in the crystals, a system only a hybrid could unlock. Ships crumbled under energy waves, the invasion repelled in a spectacular display. Yet, as debris fell like stars, Vexa revealed one final layer, the real twist. Zerathia isn't a planet, it's a colossal ship, adrift since ancient times. Humans didn't discover it, we awoke it. The ground trembled, the planet stirring to life, horizons shifting as massive engines hummed. Alex stared in awe, his lovers by his side, the surprise reshaping reality. They weren't on a world but a vessel, destined for the cosmos, with him at the helm. The group absorbed the enormity, bonds tightening in the face of the unknown. Lyra kissed him fiercely. "Wherever we go, together," Zara and Nara agreed, their embrace is a promise. As the ship planet lifted, stars beckoning, Alex embraced his true self, the twist propelling them into a new era of discovery. But whispers of more secrets lingered, Rey's full message encrypted deeper, hinting at galactic wars where hybrids like him were the ultimate weapons. For now, they sailed onward, united in surprise and love, as the colossal ship that was Zerathia rumbled to life, its ancient engines thrumming with a power that vibrated through every vine-woven structure and crystal-veined ground. Alex stood on what had once been a village square, but now felt like the bridge of a living vessel hurtling toward the unknown. Stars streaked past in the newly transparent dome overhead, a canopy of light that turned the familiar landscape into a surreal dreamscape. Lyra clung to his side, her body warm and reassuring against the sudden chill of acceleration, while Zara and Nara pressed close on his other flank, their white hair whipping in the artificial winds generated by the ship's awakening. Vexa, his newfound sister, paced nearby, her disguise shed completely now to reveal a blend of human features and Zerathian elegance, pointed ears like theirs, but with a determined jawline that mirrored his own. The drama of their liftoff hung heavy, a mix of exhilaration and dread, as if the cosmos itself were holding its breath. But beneath the awe, those whispers from Rey's encrypted message gnawed at Alex, hints of galactic wars where hybrids like him were pawns in a larger game, secrets that could unravel their fragile unity. The village, now a command hub, bustled with Zerathians and defected hybrids scrambling to man consoles that had emerged from hidden panels in the ground, glowing runes flickering to life like long-dormant memories. Alex's hybrid senses sharpened, allowing him to interface intuitively with the ship's systems, his mind linking to navigation arrays that fed him streams of data, coordinates for uncharted sectors, warnings of pursuing fleets. "We're not out of the woods yet," he said, his voice steady but laced with the weight of revelation. Lyra squeezed his hand, her violet eyes reflecting the starlight. Woods, you mean the void? Zara quipped, trying to lighten the mood with her trademark humor, but her tone faltered as a proximity alarm blared, heightening the drama in an instant. Red holograms bloomed around them, enemy vessels closing in, the rogue human faction's reinforcements, sleek and merciless, their weapons charging with ominous glows. Panic rippled through the crew, but Alex stepped forward, his hybrid abilities allowing him to reroute power to shields with a mere thought. Divert energy from non-essentials, he commanded, the ship's AI responding to his voice as if recognizing its own kin. Vexa nodded approvingly, but the awkwardness of their sibling bond surfaced immediately. She clapped him on the back a bit too hard, sending him stumbling into Lyra's arms. Easy there, bro, she said with a smirk, her human slang clashing comically with her ethereal appearance. Alex righted himself, cheeks flushing as Lyra steadied him, her curves pressing against him in a way that stirred memories of their intimate nights, right there in front of everyone. Timing, sis, he muttered, drawing chuckles from Zara and Nara, who exchanged knowing glances. Humor cut through the tension like a laser, but it only amplified the drama. Their pursuers fired a warning shot that rocked the ship, sparks flying from consoles as shields held by a thread. In the chaos, awkward situations piled on like misfiring thrusters. As Alex dove to a control panel, his foot caught on a vine root that hadn't fully retracted, sending him sprawling face first into Nara's lap where she knelt calibrating weapons. Hello down there, she said softly, her pointed ears turning pink, her dress hiking up slightly in the tumble. Alex scrambled up, mumbling apologies, his face burning as Zara burst into laughter. Smooth move, hybrid hero. If that's your battle strategy, the enemy doesn't stand a chance. Even Lyra couldn't suppress a giggle, though her hand lingered on his arm, turning the mishap into a fleeting moment of connection amid the peril. But the drama escalated without mercy. The lead enemy ship hailed them, projecting a hologram of the Admiral, his supposed uncle, sneering from a bridge lined with armed troops. Nephew, this farce ends now. Surrender the ship planet, or we'll board and take what's ours starting with you. The threat hung like a noose, heightening every heartbeat. Vexa confronted the hologram, her voice sharp. You mean steal the crystals that power this beast? Over my hybrid corpse. The Admiral's eyes narrowed, revealing more family ties in his calculating gaze. Family reunions are so touching, he drawled, but Alex cut in, his mind racing through ship schematics. Not today, Uncle Dearest, we've got a few tricks up our sleeves. He activated a defensive protocol, the ship planet deploying crystalline drones that swarmed like angry bees, peppering the enemy fleet with disruptive pulses. Explosions bloomed in the void, dramatic flares lighting up the dome, but one drone malfunctioned hilariously, veering back toward their own hull and bouncing off harmlessly, causing a console to short-circuit and spray harmless foam over Zara. Great, now I'm a walking dessert, she complained, wiping the sticky substance from her cleavage, her gauzy top turning translucent in spots. The awkward exposure drew stares, and she struck a pose. What? Never seen a foamy warrior princess before. Laughter erupted again, a brief respite that bonded them tighter, but the Admiral's fleet regrouped, boarding pods launching like arrows. Drama peaked as the first pod breached a lower deck. Invaders pouring in, human soldiers enhanced with cybernetics, clashing with Zerathian defenders in corridors that twisted like living veins. Alex led a counter-team, Lyra, Zara, Nara, and Vexa at his heels, their footsteps echoing in the humming halls. Stay together, he urged, but awkwardness struck when a gravity fluctuation hit mid-sprint. Courtesy of the ship's ancient systems glitching, they floated suddenly, bodies tumbling in zero-G, Alex colliding midair with Vexa in a sibling tangle of limbs. This is not how I pictured our first hug, she grumbled, pushing off him with a laugh that bordered on hysterical. Lyra grabbed his hand to steady him, her body drifting close enough for their lips to brush accidentally, a spark of heat in the cold void. Focus, love, she whispered. But Zara, somersaulting gracefully, quipped, if we're dying, at least make it romantic. Nara, less adept in the float, bumped into a wall, her skirt floating up comically. A little help, she called, and Alex reached out, pulling her into the group hug that turned the awkward drift into a moment of unity. They regained gravity with a thud, just as invaders rounded the corner. The fight was fierce, heightening the drama with every clash, energy blades humming against Alex's improvised staff, sparks flying as he disarmed a cyborg with hybrid-enhanced speed. Lyra danced through the fray, her movements fluid, striking with precision that felled two foes. Zara's shots from a borrowed lance were wild but effective, one blast ricocheting off a wall to zap an invader's rear, sending him hopping in pain. "Bullseye, sort of," she yelled, drawing groans and grins. Nara shielded them with a portable barrier, her quiet focus a calm in the storm, but when an enemy grabbed her from behind, Alex leaped in, tackling the soldier in a roll that ended with them pinned awkwardly, the invader's helmet visor fogging from his heavy breathing. "Personal space, buddy," Alex huffed, stunning him with a jolt. Vexa fought like a whirlwind, her knowledge of the faction's tactics turning the tide, but the Admiral's voice boomed over comms. "Personal now. You think you're a hero, boy. You're just a lab experiment, my brother's mistake." The words stung, heightening Alex's inner drama, doubts about his identity surfacing like old wounds. Lyra noticed, pulling him aside mid-lull. "You're more than that to us," she said, her kiss fierce and grounding, but awkward as blaster fire interrupted, forcing them apart with sheepish smiles. "Rain check," he joked, humor his shield against the pain, as they pushed toward the breach point, sealing it with crystal barriers. A larger threat loomed, the Admiral's flagship ramming close, tractor beams latching on. The ship planet groaned, decks buckling, drama reaching fever pitch. Invaders swarmed a key engine room, and Alex's team arrived to a standoff, the Admiral himself, holographic no more, holding Reyes, Alex's father, hostage, the old captain battered but defiant. "Choose, nephew, the ship or your blood." The revelation twisted deeper. Reyes had been captured en route, the message a desperate ploy. Vexa's eyes welled, the family drama exploding in awkward confrontations. "Dad," she cried, lunging forward, but Alex held her back. "Not like this." Humor emerged improbably when Reyes, ever the mentor, winked through his bruises. "Took you long enough, kid, and who's the harem? Impressive upgrade from asteroid mining." Alex flushed, the women's stifling laughs despite the tension, Zara whispering. "He's got jokes even now." But the Admiral tightened his grip, demanding the crystal core's access codes. Alex's mind linked to the ship, sensing its sentience, a living entity awakening fully, responding to his hybrid call. With a surge, he commanded it to purge intruders, vines ensnaring soldiers in comical cocoons, one wrapping the Admiral's legs mid-monologue. "What sorcery?" he sputtered, tumbling awkwardly as Reyes broke free. The team capitalized, subduing the rest in a flurry of action, drama cresting with Alex facing his uncle in hand-to-hand. Fists flew, the Admiral's enhancements matching Alex's hybrid strength, but a slip-on foam residue from earlier Zara's mishap sent the Admiral sliding comically into a wall, stunned. "Slippery bastard," he growled, but Alex pinned him. Family trait. Laughter mingled with triumph as they secured the room, the ship shaking off the tractor beams with a mighty pulse. Yet, as invaders retreated, awkward truths surfaced in the aftermath. Reyes embraced Alex and Vexa, the reunion tender but strained, years of deception weighing heavy. "I hid your heritage to protect you," he explained, but Lyra, Zara, and Nara stood by, their presence a reminder of chosen family. Zara broke the ice with humor. "So, does this mean family dinners in space? Pass the crystal casserole." Smiles spread, easing the drama, but scans showed more fleets on approach, the war far from over. They gathered on the bridge, bonds fortified by the ordeal, planning their next move amid stars that now felt like allies. Alex held Lyra close, whispering promises, while Zara and Nara flanked them, Vexa and Reyes joining the circle. The awkwardness of new dynamics blended with humor and drama, forging a path forward in the vast unknown. As the stars blurred into luminous trails around the colossal ship planet Zerathia, now fully awakened and charting a course through uncharted voids, Alex felt the weight of their victories and revelations settle into a profound calm on the bridge. The awkward family dynamics with Reyes and Vexa had eased into tentative warmth, Reyes clapping a hand on his shoulder with paternal pride, Vexa offering a wry smile that hinted at sibling adventures to come, while Lyra, Zara, and Nara remained his anchors. Their presences a soothing constant amid the hum of consoles and the soft glow of holographic displays. The defeated Admiral had been secured in a holding chamber woven from the ship's living vines, his cybernetic enhancements neutralized, muttering about inevitable reprisals that no one took seriously anymore. Laughter from Zara's earlier quips still echoed faintly in the air, a reminder that humor had been their lifeline. But now, as the immediate threats receded like fading echoes, a sense of closure beckoned, urging them toward healing and horizon-chasing dreams. Reyes, his face lined with the scars of secret wars, gathered them in a quieter alcove off the bridge, where crystalline walls pulsed with the ship's vital energy, casting ethereal lights that danced like fireflies. "We've bought time, but the galaxy's a big place with bigger players," he said, his voice gravelly yet optimistic. "Those fleets won't stop coming unless we expose the conspiracy, show the stars what hybrids can do when united." Alex nodded, his hybrid mind already interfacing with the ship's archives, unearthing data on ancient migrations that had set this vessel adrift eons ago. Lyra leaned against him, her body fitting perfectly into the curve of his arm, her white hair cascading over his chest like a silken veil. "Then we take the fight to them," she murmured, her violet eyes fierce with the same determination that had drawn him to her from the start. Zara, perched on a console with her legs swinging playfully, added, "And throw in some human flair, maybe hack their comms with bad Earth music. Imagine admirals dancing to defeat." Nara chuckled softly, her hand resting on Alex's knee, the touch a quiet affirmation that grounded the group's resolve. The days that followed blurred into a rhythm of exploration and intimacy, the ship planet revealing wonders that turned survival into symphony. They discovered vast internal biomass, lush forests where bioluminescent fruits grew in abundance, oceans contained within massive chambers that simulated tides, even starry observatories that projected the cosmos in breathtaking detail. Alex led excursions with his lovers and family, blending work with wonder, repairing systems with Vex's technical know-how, while Reyes shared stories of his covert life, painting pictures of a galaxy rife with hidden alliances. One evening, as they wandered a glowing cavern filled with floating orbs that hummed ancient melodies, Lyra pulled Alex aside to a secluded nook carpeted in soft moss. "Remember when you thought this was just a farming job?" she teased, her fingers tracing the lines of his jaw, drawing him into a kiss that lingered with the sweetness of shared history. Their bodies came together gently, a reaffirmation of the passion that had sparked amid storms and secrets, her skin warming under his touch as they moved in harmony, whispers of love mingling with the cavern's song. Zara and Nara joined them soon after, the group collapsing into a tangle of limbs and laughter, exploring each other with the ease of souls intertwined. The intimacy was profound, bodies aligning in ways that celebrated their differences and similarities, Alex's human vigor complementing their ethereal grace, each caress a bridge between worlds. They lay afterward in contented silence, stargazing through a transparent ceiling that showed the galaxy wheeling by. "This is what humanity brings," Alex said softly, his arms encircling them all. "Not just strength, but the will to connect, to build something beautiful from the chaos." Vexa and Reyes respected their space, but the bonds extended outward, family dinners becoming a ritual where awkward anecdotes turned into cherished tales, Reyes regaling them with botched missions. Vexa admitting her initial disdain for primitive humans had melted away watching Alex's ingenuity. Yet, drama simmered beneath the surface, refusing to fade entirely. Scouts from the ship's drone fleet reported skirmishes on the fringes, remnants of the rogue faction probing their defenses, whispers of a larger coalition forming against hybrid abominations. One tense night, as alerts flashed across the bridge, Alex rallied the crew, his voice echoing with authority honed from battles won. "We're not running anymore. Zerathia's a beacon now, a home for those like us." The response was electric, Zerathians and hybrids alike cheering, their pale skins glowing with renewed purpose. Lyra stood by his side, her hand in his, while Zara quipped from the weapons station, "Let's give them a welcome they'll never forget, human style, with fireworks." Nara, manning shields, offered a serene smile that belied her fierce calculations. The climactic confrontation came sooner than expected, a massive fleet materializing from hyperspace folds, led by a council of interstellar moguls who'd profited from the exploitation. Drama unfolded in waves, negotiations breaking down into ultimatums, the ship planet shuddering under initial barrages. But Alex's hybrid connection to the vessel unlocked its full potential, ancient weapons systems awakening, crystalline beams lancing through the void like divine judgment. Vexa coordinated counterstrikes, her sibling synergy with Alex turning the battle into a symphony of precision. Reyes, from the helm, barked orders with veteran grit, while Lyra, Zara, and Nara fought in synchronized grace, their link with Alex allowing telepathic coordination that outmaneuvered foes. In the heart of the fray, Alex faced a holographic parley with the council's leader, a sly tycoon who'd orchestrated the original breeding programs. "You were meant to be tools," The moguls sneered, but Alex's retort cut deep: tools build empires or topple them. With a surge of will, he commanded Zerathia to broadcast the archives galaxy-wide, exposing the conspiracies, the hidden colonies, the hybrid truths. Planets across sectors received the data burst, igniting uprisings and alliances. The enemy fleet fractured, ships defecting mid-battle as crews realized the lies they'd served. Humor peeked through even here, Zara hacking an enemy channel to blast absurd Earth memes, causing confusion and chuckles among turncoats. Nothing disarms like a dancing cat vid. She laughed as lasers faltered. The battle ended not in annihilation, but surrender, the Mogul's flagship limping away under truce, the council dissolving in the light of truth. Zerathia emerged victorious, a wandering haven for hybrids and outcasts, its course set toward new alliances. In the quiet aftermath, Alex gathered his loved ones on an observatory deck, the galaxy sprawling before them like an infinite promise. Lyra nestled against him, her body soft and inviting, whispering dreams of futures where their children, blends of worlds, would roam free. Zara, ever playful, draped an arm around Nara, suggesting hybrid holidays with cosmic feasts. Vexa and Reyes watched with fond smiles, the family whole at last. As months turned to years, Zerathia became a legend, a mobile utopia fostering peace, where human resilience met alien wonder. Alex, the once lone wanderer, found his place as guardian and lover, his days filled with exploration, his nights with passion. Stolen moments in hidden groves evolved into open celebrations, bodies entwining under starlit domes, affections deepening with each shared breath. We started with a job, Alex reflected one night, surrounded by Lyra's warmth, Zara's laughter, Nara's serenity, ended with a destiny. The ship sailed on, a beacon of hope in the cosmos, proving that from deception and desire, true unity could bloom, and in the vast expanse, where stars whispered eternal stories, there shone brightest a tale of love, legacy, and the indomitable spirit that bound hearts across the void. And so, as Zerathia sailed into the infinite cosmos, Alex and his beloved companions, Lyra, Zara, Nara, with Vexa and Reyes by their side, embraced a future of endless discovery, where love transcended worlds and humanity's spirit illuminated the stars forever. Personally, I love how this story celebrates human resilience and unexpected connections in the vast universe. It's a thrilling reminder that even in sci-fi, love and ingenuity conquer all. What do you think? Would you take a job on an alien planet? Share your thoughts below. Thank you all for watching. Your likes, subs, comments, and shares are our biggest motivation to create even better stories. Hit that button and join the adventure.